Going on. So you Cancers have the Knight of Wands, Four of Swords, the Tower, the Three of Wands, the Five of Cups, the High Priestess, the Nine of Pentacles, Page of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. So for you Cancers, okay, some of you Cancer crabs were interacting with someone who was not what it is that they appeared themselves to be. You thought at first this person may have been the one. This person was a decent individual, but then you come to find out that this person is not that. They are very much so very disrespectful. And the way that you started to interact with them changed your whole perception of them. So the Tower represents, this was big for you because a lot of you Cancer crabs may have thought that, these people really were important to you. And for a little while they were. But your circumstances and your mentality has changed about them. Maybe you were getting to know somebody and you started to see this person in a very different and contrasting way to how you used to. You may have really liked this person, but, the more you started to interact with them is the more you started to realize just how dysfunctional they were and how they made it a point to be as dysfunctional and disrespectful to you and what the relationship meant to you as possible. Because for them, it wasn't necessarily about being in a relationship per se. It was more so about the control of the whole thing. The Three of Wands now represents, as a result, the Three of Wands is more so about, so since that's the case, you stopped talking to them. You started to take care of yourselves as you normally do. And you're looking towards the future, right? Which is to get to know someone new. Or potentially stay by yourself for a little while. But more so looking for someone new. So the Five of Cups now represents, even though you will look for someone new, you are looking for someone new. The Five of Cups represents it really represents the two of you. And it represents the two of you in the sense that this person, they don't want to come off of their high horse of thinking that they are they don't want to come off of their high horse of thinking that they are above reproach, right? That they shouldn't be treating other people like that, especially the people that they say that they like or trying to get to know, right? But they're too caught up with their ego to not do that, to actually correct themselves. And for you Cancer crabs, this represents kind of the spilt milk syndrome, right? That a lot of you have, where it's like you put in so much energy into this relationship only for it to essentially just be for nothing. So a lot of you Cancer crabs really have to understand that you Cancer crabs didn't really, you didn't really put in too much effort to see if the person, I should say, you didn't really waste your time in that regard. You really only wasted time if you spent an exorbitant amount of time with them, if you spent a super long time with them. But it's better you found out that at that time than you did later on, when you made even more of a commitment, when more time went on, when you invested even more. And the Five of Cups represents that investment that you now perceive as lost. And yeah, maybe that investment with that person is lost, but just because that's lost does not necessarily mean that you should be thinking that you'll never find anybody. Find someone new and find something new with someone new. The High Priestess now represents, because sticking around and constantly thinking about the dysfunction is the problem. It will get you upset. It'll get you mad. It will begin to tug on your ego in the sense of, because you will believe things in the sense of you got played and you can't believe how much energy you put into this, and you will falsely perceive things and hold it as a grudge, as opposed to you Cancer crabs just seeing it for what happened. So the High Priestess represents you must seek to be alone as of right now and just kind of understand and create your own closure as to what happened. These people were very disrespectful to you. They were not necessarily the knight in shining armor that you thought. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, they're not being super disrespectful to you now because you're not with them in the first place. So now you have all the time in the world to deal with yourself. The Knight of Pentacles represents maybe it's time for you, Cancer Crabs, to actually start developing a new element of who you are. A lot of times when we're in relationships, we really stop doing the things that we held as hobbies, the things that we do in our free time, the things that bring value to us. Like I said, it's all about value. When you understand that it's all about value, it's all about, value, raising the quality of your life. When you judge people and you judge yourself based upon what are you producing, what is other people producing for you, in the sense of, and I don't necessarily mean monetarily, I mean, are they inspiring you even on an intangible value system where they're inspiring you to be better individuals, not based upon what it is that they're giving you physically, but the fact that they are leading by example, that they are walking tall with integrity, and you see that and you implement that, and you want that to be a part of who you are. You understand what I'm saying? What value are they bringing? You Cancer Crabs know that these people brought the value in the sense of a negative sense, where you now have to get over the sadomasochism within yourself of thinking that you even need that hard of a shell. Because you Cancer Crabs are sensitive. And a lot of you misperceive yourselves as thinking that you need that hard of a shell. You really don't. Because most people chicken George and scared like who knows what of you more than you are of them. Especially when you bring love into the equation. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's a whole other topic for another day. But the Page of Swords now represents, so now that you understand this and you have that space, right? You maybe even you ghosted them. You have that space. The Page of Swords represents now it's time for you to actually start working upon the boundaries that you have. What are they going to be, right? Because, for instance, one of my boundaries that I didn't even have until I made it that. One of my boundaries is the idea of when a person tries to make it seem like I'm bothering them. If I'm supposed to be in your life, let me get this right. If I'm supposed to be in your life and you have this mentality that I'm bothering you, I can't be around you, because obviously I'm a burden to you. So the King of Pentacles, the King of Swords now represent, and this is a time of transformation, because the King of Swords is not them. The King of Swords is you. Think about, really reflect upon your own boundaries and how far you're willing to let people go with you. Because when you interact with people on that level, you are supposed to have a spiritual bank. And what I mean by that is, how far are you really willing to spend spiritually? Listen to me. How far are you really willing to spend spiritually on them? If you find yourself spiritually spending or putting too much effort into them and they're being dysfunctional, there's no point in going past a certain charge where it is that, you're in the red, when it comes to a spiritual bank account, you're in the red. The Three of Pentacles represents, you want to make sure that the two of you are both putting an effort to get to know each other, right? And they're providing value, and it's not dysfunctional. They're not upset that you're in their life. They're not angry or even playing like they are. Because let's clarify some of these cards. Let's clarify the High Priestess. All right, so you have the Page of Cups, the Four of Wands, Five of Cups, the Strength. Right. So to clarify the High Priestess, the Page of Cups, the Four of Wands, the Five of Cups. Like I said before, people will scapegoat you to the best of their abilities, especially when you leave them, because they expect you to tell them when you're leaving so that they can draw you into another argument and delude you. But when you leave, you've already assessed it. There's no point in you trying to even tell them that you're leaving, because you know this is more than likely what they're going to do. Sometimes you can tell the person that you're leaving, right? But the Five of Cups and the Strength now represents, as a result, this is about how you're in a situation where you really, well, it represents them, and how you need to understand, Cancer Crabs, that some people will never be able to get past their ego.